Well, as most of you know, we went to Bolivia, and we got back April 28th. We were gone about 25 days, and so Bolivia. This is a map of kind of get an idea where Bolivia is at, South America. We flew out of Omaha, and then we went to Dallas, and then from Dallas we flew to Miami, and then Miami you fly to Bolivia. It's about it's a 7-hour flight, but by the time you actually,
Ryan,
what you?
the mic.
Oh, should we use
Either
this
one.
maybe and go back and
Either
forth?
one, yeah.
Okay. Is this on? Hello? Can you hear us? Okay, all right. Well, so this is South America. That's where Bolivia is located, and it's about in the central of South America. Like I said, we flew out of Miami. It's about a 7-hour flight from Miami to Bolivia. And this is there's 9 departments of Bolivia, and kind of like we have states. And so, if you look on the map, we flew to La Paz. La Paz is the capital of Bolivia, and then there's people that were on the plane. They got off there, and then about an hour we were there, and then we flew to Santa Cruz. That's our final destination. And Santa Cruz is the biggest city in Bolivia. We've got my wife's family, some of her cousins, uncles, and her sister live there. And so we stayed there. It's also where Frosty Hansen, some of you guys know him, that's where he's at. So we stayed there for a few days. And then then we took a bus from Santa Cruz. It's about a 10-hour bus drive from Santa Cruz to Trinidad, and that's where we stayed most of the time. There is in Trinidad. That's where her family's from. And if you want to, that's us getting ready to leave our trip. We left April 3rd. Just a picture of us at the airport there. I don't know if that's in Omaha, I think. We left Miami. Here we are sleeping here in the airport. I think we were I can't remember if it was Dallas or Miami. We had a long layover, so we were resting there in the airport on the floor. And this is the Santa Cruz airport. Frosty Hansen, he came and met us and picked us up at the airport. So, I think this is when Kathy, his wife, was sick, so she didn't come to pick us up. She got, I think, was it food poison or that she was suffering from? So she was sick for a few days. This is another picture of us here at the airport with Frosty. And we met her parents there. You can maybe talk about your family.
That was the first encounter with my members of my family, my mom, my dad, my sister. It was a beautiful moment. Yeah, we really enjoyed that time there. And then first we were going to stay with the Hansens in their house, but since she got sick, she couldn't receive us because, it was uncomfortable for her. So, but they invited us to eat dinner with them, so we had a nice time there, a fellowship with them. And she was feeling better at that moment. And then that night we have a little, also a little meeting with members of my family and friends. Those are my parents, one aunt, a cousin, and other relatives there. And that's our welcome to Trinidad City. That's the city where I was born. That's part of my family there. And all the trip from Santa Cruz to Trinidad took us about 12 hours. It was a very hard trip. The bus was actually very slow, but thanks the Lord we made it home. So yeah, it was a beautiful moment there. We can see you can see the girls having a nice time playing with their cousins there. Um, it was a surprise because um, all those little kids that we saw last time, 2014, they were so grown up, and some of them were even taller than Ryan. So it was a nice time to see them all grown. Then we have a little birthday party that we made for the girls because I thought it was a nice time to take advantage that all the family will be there, so kind of to have a nice memory for them. We made a little birthday party. That's my mom, my dad. Then and we took some pictures, taking advantage also of the moment. Yeah, from the left to right, that's my brother, then my sisters. I'm in the middle, and then the youngest is on the right, and my mom and my dad. And also we took a full family picture with all the grandchildren, nephews, and all those. Just to have a good memory, to have it in printed. And that's a little birthday party we made, so the girls can have a nice memory too about saying that they enjoy that time there with their family. That's another family picture we took. And that was a moment when we had a little fellowship with some friends from this, it's called the CCU in Spanish, Comunidad Cristiana Universitaria, that means University Christian Community. This is a group of students from colleges, universities, and other institutes that proclaim the gospel to the other classmates. They have, I was part of it when I was studying in the university, and we like to do a lot of evangelism. Of course, this is from a evangelical background. They don't have the Grace churches there.
We gave the guy in the middle. He's the one that heads it up, and we gave him a copy of the mystery and stuff. So we were trying to.
To each one.
Yeah, each one we were telling about the grace message. One of them's I think he's evangelical background. One of them was a Pentecostal.
Yeah.
The other I think is a Baptist. Was these couple here evangelical with the other couple? So they've come up from a mixed, background and stuff. So we kind of been supporting him, the CCU. We kind of help him with that and stuff like that. So we kind of gave him the mystery by Joel Fink and stuff. So we were trying to share the gospel, the grace message with him.
We gave the booklets to
The
each
booklets
one.
to each of them. So we kind of, that was an opportunity we were able to do there with them. So
They are actually more members, but that day it was so hot, and I think not many of them could make it. So we have very, just a few there. So
yeah, that was Easter
and
Sunday.
it was also because it was hot. We had a little time to enjoy cooling down in this beautiful lagoon that we have 5 kilometers from the city. So if you can see, it's a very nice place. That's a little friend from the hotel that the girls really liked it. It's a toucan. And then you want to talk a little?
Oh. Yeah, we moved around a lot in different hotels because we had different problems and stuff. But yeah, this hotel had a toucan there, and we were able to, which wasn't so bad because it was like only 7-8 blocks from her parents' house. We were able to walk there. This is a picture of Helga. She was a foreign exchange student here in America. She stayed with my parents, so we knew her really well. Her and her mom and brother, they live in Santa Cruz, so we actually stayed with them when we first got to Santa Cruz because we weren't able to stay with Frosty. And we stayed a couple nights there also with them. So we also, they're believers. Well, her and her mom are believers. Her brother is not. And I had a good conversation. She speaks English, Helga, and so I was able to talk with her a little bit, and I shared the grace message with her and stuff. And
The book too.
we gave them a mystery book too by Joel Fink and stuff. So they're believers, but Her brother's not, and she has a real concern about her brother and stuff. So we had a good time of fellowship with them. We went out to dinner at a nice restaurant there. And then in the cities there in Bolivia, they have a center square, and it's a park. This is the same in about every city in Bolivia, and they have a park where you can play, benches, trees, different things. The girls are chasing pigeons. They like to chase the pigeons there in the square. And then on the square, they always have a big Catholic church, cathedral. And this is the one in Santa Cruz. You can see us standing there, picture outside. It's always the biggest building there in the center square. This is kind of a bird's eye view of the church, and we're up. This is a cafe up we took a picture from, and here's a couple pictures inside. Just huge, big church. And we just took a couple pictures when we were there before. This is the Catholic church in Trinidad, so it's not quite as big as the one in Santa Cruz, but it's a good sized church. When we didn't take any other pictures when we were there this time, but when we were there last time, we did a little video of inside of the church. So I thought I'd share that with you this morning, just get an idea what I can. There you go. Okay.
We're in Trinidad, Bolivia, in front of one of the Catholic church here in town. We were at the big Catholic church in the center square. This is a smaller one, and in this church we were planting some tracks. This one shows the Roman Catholic doctrine versus biblical doctrine, and it lays out how Roman Catholic doctrine contradicts biblical Christianity. This is a track we also laid out that shows how the Roman Catholic priests.
Okay, yeah, what we're doing here, this is a smaller Catholic church in Trinidad. You know, they have a lot of them there. This isn't the big one. This was a smaller one. We'd walk by it every day when we go to her parents' house from the hotel. And so I was this is 3 years ago we made this video, but it's the same church, and we weren't able to get in. This church is always locked, so we weren't able to go inside of it. But you'll show a little bit of all the pictures. I'll show a picture of what it looks like inside.
In the Mass, Jesus face. And so we're going to show you in this church some of the, as you can see, some of the statues they have. You'll see some of the saints. They're just all over in this particular church. This is one of the smaller ones that we're looking at. We're not able to go in this one. It's locked. We were able to go in the big cathedral down in the center market. But as you can see, there's tons and tons of statues. Jesus is still hanging on the cross. The Virgin Mary, the Christ child.
We are showing these videos because we just wanted to let you know how's the situation, the religious situation in my country. There's a majority of the population are Catholics. That's why we have a bunch of Catholic churches and big ones. But they have always this kind of fight between evangelicals or Christians and Catholics. Because I know in America, Christians are considered also Catholics, Mormons, and Jehovah's Witnesses, and all those them. But we have these distinctions in my country. We separate them from the Christians. So the Catholics are Catholics and the Christians are Christians.
Yeah, and that's the way it should be, because unfortunately there's a big movement of ecumenicalism in America, that there's not much difference between Roman Catholicism, what they teach, and evangelical Christianity. And and what was shocking to me when I first saw these churches is the amount of statues that they have, because I've been in Catholic churches in America, and they don't have the amount of statues that they do as they do here in Bolivia, because they really are very worshiping of those statues. Wherever you go in the homes, they have a picture of the Virgin Mary and the Christ child. And it's funny is because in some of these homes I've seen, they'll have a picture of them, and then right next to it they'll have a picture of a naked woman, right next to each other. So at one moment they're practicing their faith, and then yet they have pornography in their houses, and it's really a shocking contrast. But here's another video we made. This is the bigger church that we got. We actually got to walk into this one. This is the one that's in the square. And it's open to the public all the time. You can walk in there because people are always praying. You know, they're doing the Hail Mary, or what is it, the Rosary. Yeah, and so, and we were able to just go in there so you get a kind of bigger idea.
And they are at the big Roman Catholic Cathedral. They're now entering the cathedral. The screen displays to it. They're now entering the cathedral.
You guys might not be able to hear that, but at least you can see what it looks like inside.
Some of the saints they have up on the wall. San Judas Tadeo. Judas.
I can't pronounce some of the saints' names, so.
On the side of the wall, they have all the pictures of the saints. There is Jesus on the cross, still on the cross. Here's the confessional booth.
This is a place where they perform the mass. And over here we have more saints statues. This is San Francisco's Francis of Assisi. And this is another crucified Christ with Mary and Joseph Loreto. Inside the cathedral, there's a chapel. There's a vision of Loreto, another representation of the Virgin Mary.
Yeah, what's interesting about in Bolivia is that, you know, those 9 departments that you have, each one has a special shrine of the Virgin Mary that she has appeared to the people there. And so every year, each whatever department, they go there to pay homage to the Virgin Mary where she's appeared at some time in the past, you know, kind of like the mother of the Guadalupe, and the one that's in Spain that Pope Francis was just at, I can't remember. Anybody remember that one? He was making saints out of those 3. I think it's in Portuguese, isn't it? Well, anyway, that happens there in Bolivia where the Virgin Mary appears, and wherever she appears in a vision, whatever, then they put up a statue of her, and then every year they go pay homage to her and stuff, because it's a big deal down there.
They put a lot of candles here to pray. Yeah, people come here. And, now we are putting some tracks with the truth.
I'm playing tracks there in the church.
Yeah, we can see a lot of darkness in here in Trinidad, Bolivia, because the Catholic churches have a big influence in the town and most of the cities of Bolivia. So this is a great challenge like that. We have a lot of statues of Virgin Mary, Virgin Guadalupe, that's the one from Mexico.
That's just me talking at the end about it. So yeah, hopefully that gives you an idea of what it looks like inside of these Catholic churches, because about 75% of Bolivians are Catholic, and you know there's only about 20% that are actually Protestants, or you know that includes mostly Pentecostals, other evangelicals, Baptists, but you know So I just wanted to give you an idea about that. That video was 3 years ago, so we didn't know the grace message 3 years ago. So we probably would have taken grace material and stuff. We took we filled our suitcases with these. This is what is this? This is Saved by Grace, and
Saved by the Grace of God.
yeah, in English. I hand these out at the truck stop quite a bit. This is 2 Timothy 2:15, study to show yourself proved unto God. We handed out a lot of those. And then the chart that shows the revelation of the mystery. And what was cool, my nephew, he speaks good English, and I was able to really witness good to him, and he understood the revelation of the mystery and stuff. So I was able to show him, and he got it and stuff. So that was awesome. We were able to, like on Easter, we did a little church in her parents' house, and some of her family went there and listened to us. I gave a message on the resurrection since it was Easter, and then about an hour after they asked questions and stuff like that. So that was a good time of fellowship and them asking questions about Christianity and stuff like that. Because we think, we don't know nobody's heart, but we're pretty sure some of her family is believers, but some are not really sure about and stuff. So we were able to testify, like one of her brothers is dating a Buddhist, so but he's a Christian.
And he's kind of turning.
But she has such a strong influence on him, because Buddhism and Christianity, and he's being influenced by her teaching, and so we're trying to, and he was there and listening, so we're trying to build up the faith of her family, because there's a lot of issues there, but I won't go into, but we were going there to Bolivia to see her family, but we also wanted to do a little witnessing and evangelism and teaching of the word too. So. And then this is towards the end of our trip. We went back. Oh, okay. Yeah, you want to talk about your other family there?
That was a nice night that we had when we came back from my city to Santa Cruz to wait for our day of departure. We have a kind of church service there that night in the house of my cousin. The lady that is standing up, she is my cousin. And her family and my other cousins too, her siblings, were there with little nieces and nephews. It was a nice group. We were about 20 people probably in that night, and they got to hear the message of the grace of God. Ryan preached Ephesians 3, is that? Yeah, so I think they got it, that they still have more questions. Even the next day, we still kept trying, to teach them the.
Yeah, she was out. Yeah, the next morning, her cousin, she was asking a lot of questions over breakfast and stuff like that, because they think they were from a Baptist background, but they're being so much like so many churches there. They're influenced by the New Apostolic Reformation teaching. I don't go into that, but my wife was involved in that too, and we were down there, and so that's kind of taken over a lot of the evangelical churches and stuff. So we were trying to explain the grace message and all that, and we gave them a lot of the pamphlets and stuff like that, and she was asking some good questions and stuff like that. So we were able to minister to them, and that was right before we. Left home. I think, and that's your mother's sister right there, her mom's sister.
Yeah.
And that's her daughter then. So we stayed out their house for a couple of nights there in Santa Cruz. They have a pretty nice house there. So and they have every week they have a Bible study, and so they asked me if I would give the message at the Bible study, and that's when we presented the grace message. So we thought that was an opportunity from the Lord to open the door that we were able to share that with them. So we had some good opportunities there, and
something that was very nice for me especially, besides sharing the Word of God, the grace message with my family and friends, was that I could be useful for the work of the Lord, because while Ryan couldn't communicate the message in the language, I was able to do the translation, the interpretation at the same time. So that was a blessing for me and for my family, because they could hear in their language. Yeah. So even the husband of my cousin, the lady that the owner of the house, he said, this is the first time that I heard this message. He said, really? I said, because Ephesians 3, we have read it in our churches all the time, but we don't really understand what's the real meaning of it. So he says the first time, and he really liked it. So I think the Lord has been, blessing us with this witnessing to my family in that sense. So praise the Lord.
Yeah, and I remember we talked when we were, the last day we were there, we had dinner with Frosty and Kathy again, and he was telling us about, there's 11 grace churches there in Santa Cruz. And he says there's only really 3 of them that are really faithful to the grace message. The others have kind of fallen away and got involved in some other teachings and stuff. So, and I guess at one time he said also there used to be a grace school there, and that several years ago that kind of went away the wayside too and stuff. And so that was interesting. He was sharing about and what he wants to do there, because a lot of you guys know him. He was here in July, and he gave a message, and he was and they just went over there in March. So his goal there is he wants to get strengthen the grace churches there and get them to be able to establish in that country. A lot of the pastors, they have to have other occupations because they can't. The people are a lot of are poor and they're not able to support a ministry, so they have another occupation and stuff. And he wants them to be able to do more pastoral work and have more time to be able to study God's Word and stuff, because one of the problems, he says, there is a lack of education and stuff. So they're influenced by a lot of the teaching, even on television there. I noticed like the big influence of the New Apostolic Reformation. The teaching there is just, it's all over the television on their Christian station, kind of like here. And so he wants to kind of strengthen the grace churches to help them refute some of the false teachings that are going on over there. So I guess that's about it. So you want to say one more thing?
Yeah. One of the things that I saw when we were there is about the grace churches. Is they are weak in their faith. I mean, because the missionaries that go there, for example, Frosty and his wife, they went several years ago, and then when they came back, they found that many of the churches were kind of getting cold and going back to,
well, they're being influenced by other teachings.
Yeah. So what I see is I don't know if it would be correct to say this, but we need to strengthen their faith, because we don't have any grace church in Trinidad, my city, and I said, Lord, where can I send my family when we leave them? Where can I send them? What church they can go so they can grow in the faith? So the Lord put that burden in my heart that we need to pray a lot for them, and not only that, to try to do something that they can, to help them to grow in their faith, based in the grace message. So what I was thinking is to try to do more translations into Spanish of material that we have here, all the grace message material. I would like to do the translation so we can send them to them, and they can read it and keep going in their faith, because nobody can preach over there. There's no grace message churches there. So
yeah, there's a lack of material Spanish material in the Grace Message. Yeah, they have the mystery that's translated in Spanish, and then Frosty also showed that book that Joel Fink wrote on the common questions regarding the Grace Message, although he didn't know where it came from or who translated it, but he had a copy of that in Spanish. But there's a need for Spanish materials. I think that's what my wife wants to do, is translate some of Joel's books into Spanish, so when we go over there we can take the material, because there's a lack of Spanish material over there, and it's hard to get it over there, and so that's what we want to do next time when we go, is hopefully take some more material in the Grace Message in Spanish.
And I would say that will be a prayer request for the church, to pray for the Lord to help us find how to provide with good material in Spanish. Dana mentioned that we could do the translation of all the preachings here into Spanish. I don't know how to do that, but we will have to research. So I can do the translation, and we can post this on YouTube, so my family and other friends can see them watching in Spanish. So that will be a prayer request.
Yeah, because one, I don't know if you remember from the CCU, that Jonathan, he said he watched our message. He watched my message on YouTube, and it shows up, when you on our YouTube account, it shows people that watch it. And there's people from Bolivia that's watched it. I don't know if it was her family or whoever, because like my nephew, he understands English, so I think he might be one that's watching. Her brother a little bit, her sister knows English a little bit, so that's why we kind of want to yeah, do it in language. That's the nice thing of having our videos on YouTube. People from all across the world can watch it. So, well, thank you guys for letting us talk about our trip to Bolivia. So, appreciate that. Thanks.